Picture this. Team USA just demolished New Zealand 101.46 inches, a World Cup qualifier. A blowout so complete, it barely felt competitive. The arena is buzzing, highlights are flying, and most players would flood social media with group shots or victory dances. But Caitlin Clark chose a different path. Hours after the final buzzer, she slid into Instagram with 0 words, no caption, no explanation, nothing. Just one photo pulled from a photographer's carousel post. Fans immediately clocked it. She had to scroll past images celebrating 6 of her teammates before landing on her own action shot. That signature fire in her eyes, body coiled mid-play like she was ready to take over. She reposted it anyway. No great team effort, no shout-outs, just the image sitting there, quiet but loaded. It wasn't random. In a sport where every gesture gets dissected, this felt like a message delivered without saying a thing to the coaches who kept her in a limited role for long stretches. To anyone still questioning her place, and maybe even to herself, as a reminder of what she brings when they finally turn her loose. That single repost set the internet talking because everyone who watched the game knew the real story happened in the fourth quarter. Right after that dominant win in San Juan, the photographer's carousel dropped, capturing moments from every angle. Teammates got their shine early in the feed. Kelsey Plum cooking, Paige Buchers getting touches, Angel Reese making noise, Ryan Howard draining threes. Then, buried deeper, came Clark's shot. The one that froze her in full flight, intensity radiating, the kind of frame that screams star power. Many fans noticed she had to push through those 6 other highlights to find it, yet she chose to amplify. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. By exactly that one. It sparked immediate buzz online, with people reading between the lines of her no-caption move. Some saw it as quiet confidence, others as a subtle nudge about how the night unfolded. What made it land so hard was the context of the game itself. Clark earned her first senior start for Team USA, stepping onto the court with all eyes on her after the 2024 Olympic conversation still lingers in the background. Early on, the offense flowed through more traditional setups. She found herself spotting up at times, waiting for opportunities rather than creating them at will. Her stat line through 3 quarters stayed solid but not explosive, around 7 points and a handful of assists, while operating mostly away from the primary ball-handling duties. Chelsea Gray and others initiated, leaving Clark in catch-and-shoot or off-ball spaces that didn't fully unlock her court vision. The team still built a big lead thanks to hot shooting from beyond the arc, especially Howard going nuclear from deep. But something felt contained, like the engine was running at 3/4 speed. Clark has built her reputation on making everyone around her better through elite passing and pace. In this setup, those gifts stayed somewhat on ice for long stretches. Fans watching closely picked up on the difference in flow compared to her WNBA nights where the ball lives in her hands. That Instagram choice, whether intentional or not, started conversations because it highlighted her individual moment amid all the team glory. It wasn't flashy, but it cut through the noise. And what happened next in the game would make that image even more meaningful, turning a good performance into something that left people wondering why it took so long to see it fully unleashed. The first 3 quarters against New Zealand told one version of the story, one that USA basketball might have preferred stayed under the radar. Clark started the game, a milestone in itself after the Olympic snub debates from 2024. Yet the offensive scheme kept her largely off the primary ball. She operated as a spot-up threat, running off screens and waiting for kickouts, while veteran guards like Chelsea Gray directed traffic. Her numbers sat middle of the pack at that point, 7 points. Limited creation, nothing that screamed game changer. Meanwhile, other players feasted. Howard rained threes, Plum pushed tempo early, and the supporting cast grabbed headlines with efficient scoring. The lead grew comfortable, but the pace felt controlled rather than electric. This wasn't entirely new territory. During parts of her 2025 WNBA season with the Indiana Fever, limited to just 13 games by injuries, Clark still posted eye-popping averages of 16.5 points and a league-leading 8.8 assists per game when healthy. Those numbers came when offenses ran through her. When asked to blend in or play away from the rock, her impact naturally dipped, not because she can't function off-ball, but because her greatest strength sits in orchestrating from the top. Possessions without the ball in her hands simply limit the reads she can make, the skip passes she can fire, and the gravity she creates that collapses defenses and opens lanes for everyone else. In that New Zealand game, the early quarters felt like an experiment in fitting her into a more conventional setup. Solid contributions, yes, but unremarkable relative to what fans have come to expect from the player who revolutionized spacing and playmaking at every level. Reports and film breakdowns circulating since have pointed out how the offense hummed along efficiently, but lacked that extra jolt. New Zealand hung around longer than the final score suggested in moments. Even as USA pulled away on hot outside shooting, Clark's vision stayed mostly bottled up, waiting for the right moment. That patient approach from the coaching staff made sense on paper, veteran leadership, balanced touches, but it also raised eyebrows among those who've studied her game closely. The fourth quarter would flip the script entirely, revealing what many had suspected all along. When the ball finally found its way back into her hands with full responsibility, the entire court transformed, and the score reflected a different level of dominance. Then the fourth quarter arrived, and everything clicked into place around the 7-minute mark. The coaching staff made the adjustment many had been calling for. They put the ball in Caitlin Clark's hands as the primary point guard. Almost instantly, the game tone shifted. She started finding open teammates with crisp, laser-like passes, including easy looks under the rim that turned into layups without much resistance. Her assist total climbed quickly, eventually finishing at 6 for the game, while her scoring jumped from that modest 7-point mark through 3 quarters all the way to 14 points on efficient 6 of 1-1 shooting, including a couple from deep. She added 2 steals and played with 0 turnovers in her 23 minutes. The offense didn't just improve, it accelerated. Film watchers and analysts noted how the pace picked up, defensive rotations got stretched, and the spacing opened in ways it hadn't earlier. Passes that seemed routine became highlight-worthy because of the angles and timing only she seems to see consistently. One sequence after another showed her threading needles or hitting cutters in stride, turning good possessions into great ones. The final margin ballooned to 55 points, but that late surge felt like the real takeaway. Rhyne Howard still led the way with 18 points on hot 3-point shooting, yet Clark's facilitation became the engine that made the blowout feel inevitable. This wasn't the first time observers saw this pattern. Similar moments played out during her Fever tenure, where early struggles often traced back to trying to accommodate others by taking the ball out of her hands. Once the offense centered on her strengths, turnarounds followed. In this qualifier, the shift proved the point again in real time. Her galaxy brain court vision, as some describe it, needs the ball to fully activate. Spot-up minutes have value, but they cut her overall influence dramatically. That fourth quarter explosion left people talking because it exposed the gap between good team basketball and the elevated version that happens when Clark directs the show. USA still cruised to a 5-0 tournament finish, with her averaging 11.6 points and 6.4 assists overall. But this specific game became a case study, and that quiet Instagram repost later gained even more weight once fans connected it to the on-court transformation they had just witnessed. That fourth quarter adjustment brought back memories of unfinished business from the summer of 2024. Clark's exclusion from the Paris Olympic roster had stirred plenty of debate at the time, with USA Basketball citing her relative inexperience at the senior international level and the need for veteran continuity. The decision sparked backlash, statements defending the choice, and ongoing questions about whether current form should outweigh past reps. Fast forward to these 2026 qualifiers, and here she was earning her first start, delivering in big moments, yet still navigating moments where her role seemed tested or limited. The contrast felt striking to many following the story. She had used the snub as fuel, channeling it into her WNBA work, and now these national team opportunities. No public complaints, no drama, just steady production that forces conversations. In the New Zealand game, the early off-ball minutes echoed some of those past discussions about fitting her into existing systems rather than building around what she does best. When they finally handed her the keys late, the results spoke loudly. Her vision created advantages that weren't as evident before, turning solid teammates into even more effective weapons. It raised fair questions about long-term planning. With the 2026 World Cup on the horizon, decisions around roster construction and minutes distribution carry extra weight. Clark brings something unique that international opponents are studying and preparing for. But USA's depth means tough choices about balancing experience with upside. Many fans and commentators have speculated whether the organization is still figuring out the optimal way to deploy her without disrupting chemistry built over years. The Instagram move, interpreted by some as a subtle reminder of her value, fits her personality, calculated, low-key, letting actions do the talking. She understands optics and avoids anything that could be spun as entitlement. Instead, she performs, then lets the film and the numbers make the case. That approach puts quiet pressure on decision-makers. They've seen the data from her FIBA season, where her assist numbers and offensive rating when running point stand out. They've watched the tape from this qualifier. Ignoring the pattern becomes harder with each game. The Olympic chapter may be closed, but its lessons seem to be resurfacing in these qualifier moments, shaping how her role evolves heading into bigger competition. What makes Clark's impact so distinct comes down to how the game flows when she controls the tempo from the point. Every possession without the ball in her hands appears to reduce her overall value noticeably, not due to any weakness on her part, but because her elite processing speed and passing creativity stay underutilized. In the New Zealand fourth quarter, once she took over primary duties, assists piled up, cutters found daylight, and the defense had to account for her range-pulling help away from the paint. It's the same dynamic that fueled the Fever's improvements in recent seasons. Once the offense centered on her facilitation, efficiency climbed across the board. Her 8.8 assists per game in the 2025 WNBA season, even in limited appearances, underscored that reality. Coaches at every level have access to the numbers and the film. They know the spacing her shooting creates, the attention she commands beyond the arc, and the passing lanes that open when defenses rotate to her. Yet traditional lineups and veteran deference sometimes lead to setups where she spends extended time away from the rock. That approach worked against New Zealand thanks to overall talent disparity, but it also highlighted a potential handicap against more balanced international sides. When Clark directs, the court shrinks for opponents and expands for teammates. Her ability to see developing plays 1 or 2 steps ahead turns routine actions into advantages. Observers have pointed out repeatedly that this isn't about ego or demanding touches, it's about maximizing what she was built to do. She can play off-ball effectively in spots, knocking down shots or making quick decisions. But asking her to live there for long stretches leaves tools on the shelf. The Fever learned this lesson through trial and error, eventually building schemes that played to her strengths and saw results improve dramatically. USA Basketball now faces similar choices in real time during these qualifiers. The fourth quarter evidence from San Juan added another data point to the conversation. Her vision doesn't just create plays, it elevates the entire group when given freedom. As the team prepares for tougher tests ahead, that realization could shape how rotations and offensive philosophies develop. The quiet Instagram statement many read as affirming her self-awareness gains extra layers when viewed through this strategic lens. She knows her value, and increasingly, the basketball world does too. Looking toward the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, These qualifier games serve as more than warm-ups. They're laboratories for chemistry and system building. The United States remains the clear favorite on paper, with superior talent, but the global gap has narrowed noticeably. Teams like Australia, Spain, and Canada bring disciplined systems, long-term chemistry, and players who know their roles inside out. They don't rely on individual brilliance alone. They execute schemes that minimize weaknesses and maximize collective strengths. Against that backdrop, USA's occasional experimentation with Clark's usage carries higher stakes. The New Zealand blowout succeeded despite early conservative setups, but medal round games against prepared opponents won't offer the same margin for adjustment in the fourth quarter. Clark isn't a complementary piece or a specialist brought in for specific situations. She functions best as the central hub, the player around whom actions revolve. Her range forces defenses to cover more ground, her passing punishes overhelps, and her pace can dictate the tempo of entire halves. International scouting reports likely already highlight ways to limit her when the ball isn't in her hands, sagging off, switching screens, or forcing her into traffic. The real edge comes from putting her in positions to exploit those adjustments. Roster decisions will test how much the staff trusts building around her youth and upside versus leaning on established veterans who earned spots through prior cycles. Both paths have merit, yet the evidence from recent games suggests one unlocks higher ceilings. The tournament in Berlin will test adaptability under pressure. USA wants to showcase its stars while maintaining the program's tradition of dominance. Clark's presence on the qualifying roster, despite the earlier Olympic omission, signals recognition of her marketability and on-court growth. Still, fully integrating her strengths without creating friction requires clear vision from the coaching staff. The fourth quarter shift against New Zealand offered a glimpse of what that integration could look like: seamless, explosive, and difficult to guard. As qualifying wraps and deeper preparation begins, those decisions about offensive identity will define whether the team coasts on talent or maximizes its unique pieces. Clark has shown she can adapt and contribute in various roles, but the bigger opportunity lies in letting her define the role itself. The world stage waits, and the choices made now will echo through every possession in Germany. Beyond pure X's and O's, Clark's situation touches on the evolving business of women's basketball. She currently stands as one of the most marketable figures in the sport, driving viewership, social media engagement, and interest that extends far beyond traditional fans. USA Basketball benefits from that draw during these televised qualifiers, using her presence to grow the game globally. Yet there's an underlying tension when star power meets traditional hierarchies that prioritize experience and established roles. Playing her off-ball for significant stretches or bringing her into systems not fully tailored to her gifts risks under-delivering on the very excitement that brings casual viewers in. Fans tuning in want to see the full package, the vision, the range, the creativity that made her a phenomenon. This isn't about special treatment. It's about honest evaluation of what produces the best version of the team. The Instagram post, interpreted by many as an understated affirmation of her contributions, reflects a mature approach. No public lobbying, no manufactured controversy, just performance followed by a quiet highlight of the moment that mattered. That savvy helps her navigate the spotlight without creating unnecessary noise in the locker room. Meanwhile, the organization must weigh how to blend her dynamic style with the cohesion built by veterans. Straddling both approaches, sometimes featuring her fully, sometimes asking her to defer, can send mixed signals and prevent the kind of automatic chemistry needed at the highest level. International opponents won't hesitate to exploit any indecision. They've closed the talent gap through better coaching, preparation, and collective belief. USA's advantage lies in players who can elevate through individual excellence, provided the system lets them. Clark has proven she can carry that load while making others better. Her WNBA numbers and these qualifier flashes reinforce the point. As the sport grows, decisions like these influence not just one tournament, but but the broader narrative around player development and utilization. The quiet way she's handled everything from the 2024 snub to her current role positions her as a leader who leads by example. USA Basketball now has the film, the stats, and the public interest pushing them toward clarity. How they respond could shape the next chapter for both her career and the program's dominance on the world stage. In the end, that single Instagram image after the New Zealand win captured more than just a basketball moment. It reflected a young star who understands her worth without needing to announce it loudly. The fourth quarter surge showed what's possible when her unique skills sit at the center of the offense, turning a comfortable victory into something more dominant and revealing. From the Olympic discussions of 2024 to these qualifier experiments, the pattern has been consistent. When given the freedom to orchestrate, Clark transforms the floor in ways few others can match. As USA Basketball looks ahead to the 2026 World Cup, the real question isn't whether she belongs, it's how fully they'll commit to building around what she brings. The sport continues evolving, with tighter international competition and growing audiences drawn to dynamic creative play. Clark's quiet confidence and on-court vision offer a glimpse of that future. She's letting her game and these subtle signals speak for themselves, forcing everyone else to catch up. What comes next could redefine not just her role, but how the best teams unlock their most special talents. The message was clear without words, and the basketball world is still processing exactly what it means. Stay locked in with my channel Simply Explained, your home for the truth behind the WNBA headlines.